Hey everyone, how are you tonight? It's Hal. I'm coming to you from New York City in a hotel room, as you can see. I am here because we've had a little bit of a death in the family. My grandfather has passed away, and I'm here to send him off with the rest of my relatives. My grandfather was 101 years old, and he's had a very full, rich life. And I'm here today to kind of talk about grief and processing grief and loss. My grandfather, his name was Dudley DeCosta Banfield, 101 years old, like I mentioned, and he had a major, profound impact on my family. He is one of the prime reasons as to why we are who we are as a family. A little bit about him. Born 1921 in St. Michael, Barbados. He would eventually leave Barbados in search of better career opportunities and living in Curacao and working in Trinidad before finally immigrating to the United States in 1945. Upon his arrival, he joined the United States Segregated Army, and then out of the Army started working for a steel company for 37 years before retiring. We all called him Pop. Anyone who knew him as Pop. So he wasn't Granddad or Grandpa, he was just Pop by everyone who knew him. Being here in New York at this time, in this moment, under these conditions, makes me really look at family, legacy. You know, the family was so large. He had 4 surviving children, 10 grandchildren, 17 great-grandchildren, and 7 great-great-grandchildren. So there's a lot there in the lineage. But as I think more about family, being here at this funeral today, it really made me think about moving forward. Because you see, Pop was kind of like the glue that kind of held everything together. And now with his passing, I have the sense that that glue is no more. And if I'm really honest here, looking at a lot of the people at the service today, something inside of me just felt, I'm never gonna see these people ever again. There's really nothing that kind of bonded us outside of Pop. And so not only do I grieve the loss of my grandfather, but I'm also kind of processing now the idea of people who I've known for all of my life, no longer having any sort of like foundational connection to them going forward, if that makes any sense. Because my grandfather kind of he would have parties at his house, like I remember when we celebrated his 95th birthday, you know, everybody showed up at the house. At his 100th birthday, it was during COVID, we all gathered over Zoom. And it was the only time we actually saw everyone kind of come together. But now with his passing, you look and you see, well, okay, that's no longer ever gonna happen again. The house that he lived in for all of his life here in Queens, New York, has been sold. And so you look back and you think, well, any little touch point to any memory that I would have of growing up and being a kid and running around, you know, in that neighborhood is now over. You know, no family is perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and certainly not this one. And I know for me, like I said, there are a lot of people in this family who I will not ever see again. And a part of me feels okay with that. You know, I know there are a few cousins right now who there will always be a lifelong bond. And that's a strong sense I really feel connected to. But for the rest, it just feels like it's kind of over. And so my question to all of you is, how do you process loss? How do you process grief? You know, how do you pick up pieces, or how do you look forward to what's beyond? Because as I see with the passing of Pop, I now look at the next line in succession, which is, you know, my father and my uncles and aunts. That's the next kind of phase beyond. And then, of course, the cousins. And then, as we move on, and then my cousins and their kids, and now looking at their kids. How do you create a new sense of normal? And I think it actually starts with us, the next generations coming up. Pop left a legacy behind. What legacy are we leaving behind? I feel like I'm leaving behind something in all the works that I've been doing up until this point in my life. And I know a lot of people don't have that, or have never really thought about that. When I look back at Pop and all he's done as far as, getting the courage to leave Barbados, to go to Curacao, to go to Trinidad, and then to come here to America, that takes a lot of courage. And I think if anything he left behind for all of us is the sense of being courageous, taking a stance, stepping out on faith, looking ahead, knowing for positivity is just beyond the corner. And I think that's always how, and I know for me, that's always how I've lived my life. It was a beautiful service today, very spiritual. The minister had a connection with Pop, so he can speak from a first-person perspective of his experience with my grandfather. But when we got to the cemetery, it started to pour rain, which was very unexpected because it was sunny up until that point. And for many people, they figured it was like Pop pissing on everybody one last time, as we're out there on his site saying our final goodbyes. He wasn't a perfect man by any stretch of the imagination. He did have his ways. And this was like his one last kind of dig at everyone by having the rain just kind of shower down on everyone in his last moment. This is a very different sort of post for me, I know, but it's life. And this channel is all about life and work, all in balance. So leave me a comment in the description down below and share. How do you process grief? How do you handle creating a new sense of normal within a family? How do you feel about leaving others behind as you press forward, knowing that you can't take everyone with you? He was incredibly tack sharp with his mind. He loved cooking. He had a creative side about him too, which really kind of manifested really late in his life. He started playing the organ, and he took up art, creating these drawings that he would share with all of the family. And I actually, in my house to this day, have 2 of them framed in my living room. So they'll have special meaning now that he's gone. One chapter has closed now. It's been a very heavy day. Lots on my mind with this. I just wanted to share with you all. So, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Click like and share, and of course, share your thoughts on the idea of grief and loss. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Please, dear Father, I'm asking you, please help me to have